There's an exciting new musical about to open in Sydney and later going to Melbourne. It's called Chicago, and this is the first major musical venture from the Sydney Theatre Company. And judging by Chicago's success on Broadway and in London, and the stars that they've assembled for this local production, it should be quite a treat and a big success. And I'd like you to welcome two of our favourite ladies, Nancye Hayes and Geraldine Turner. Give them a welcome. I love the kinky gear.
Oh, not too kinky.
Oh, it's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
Do you wear this all through the show, or just for this number that you're doing
Just
for us
for this
today?
number we're going to do today.
Right, now I need a bit of help from you, Nancye. In the press release, they have described Chicago, listen to this, and I don't know what it means, a razzle-dazzle musical based on a satire of the corruption of society which occurs when individuals or issues are judged through the media.
That's right. That's exactly what it's about.
Can you translate it for me?
But it's also, well, I mean, most actresses would say, well, it's about, you know, the part of Roxy Hart.
Right, which you just happen to play.
That's which I just happen to play. It's
Right.
about Roxy Hart. Now, it's about two women, Roxy Hart and Velma Kelly.
You're Velma?
Velma Kelly. And we are murderesses.
Oh, charming.
It's set in a jail, the Cook County Jail, and it's the story of the way their trials are publicised and they become quite famous. I mean, they become celebrities. And first of all, Velma is the most famous. Then, of course, Roxy comes along with
And
her...
usurps her power,
Yes.
sort of thing.
Oh, I
but
see.
it's not a black show or anything like that. It's really about making a mockery of justice. You know, justice is for the rich. All these murderesses get let off because there's a wonderful lawyer called Billy Flynn, played by Terry Donovan. Everybody,
Yes, marvellous.
and he is going to be sensational.
I think people will be very surprised to see Terry in a musical, but
Yeah,
because he was in
Cop Shop
Cop Shop for so long. But
Yeah.
I remember he was in West Side Story when it was on.
That's right.
That's right,
Yeah.
So he's back on the stage in a
Yeah.
musical.
And he sings like a dream. He's just wonderful.
Great. So it rings a bit of a bell, all this. Was it a movie?
Yes, it was a movie called Roxy Hart with Ginger Rogers.
Oh,
It was
right.
on last weekend at 4 a.m, I think.
Oh, in that case, everyone's
be an
seen it.
insomniac
You've
to
all
catch
seen it.
I've got to ask you while you're both here. I mean, you both are very successful actresses and you've had good careers. But I was saying this to Graham Kennedy yesterday because he's gone out of the discipline like I have of sort of having a day job in inverted commas, like you're there all the time. And suddenly he's gone into this thing where he's making movies, and sometimes you'll be frantically busy, and other times you just sit at home. What do you do? Watch the wallpaper or something? It must be terrible in those periods between shows.
Well, it is indeed. I like to get out and do some form of work, like classes or taking classes, a bit of
Yeah.
choreography and things. But it isn't always possible. I mean, you do have to wait for work. The terrible thing about this business is when you're out of work, you're worrying about your next show. When you're in work, you're worrying about your next show. You're always worrying.
Right.
Yeah.
What's your approach, Geraldine, between shows? Do you
well,
ever get really despondent about it?
Yeah, I think we all get despondent if we're not working for a day. But when we're working, we want a holiday, you know. But I think what keeps it interesting is that we now in this country can do films, television, straight theatre, you know, straight plays, and then a musical now and again. So we're not just doing musicals. God, you couldn't. I mean, it's so hard singing and dancing and acting every night.
Yeah.
It's so
Strenuous.
hard.
You really have to be in training for something like Chicago.
Like a
for
boxer
about 6
trains,
months
really.
Do you?
to get it. Because, I mean, you do a number and you're puffed, and then you have to go straight into a scene. And you really mustn't show that you're...
Puffed. And also you
Worn
have
out.
a huge dance routine, then you've got to sing a long note at the end of all of that, you know.
Yes, I often think people who write musicals are pretty evil, aren't they?
Yeah, cruel.
I mean,
Hideous.
the poor Aggie boys in Whorehouse,
right.
they'd finish this exhausting production number and they'd get a round of applause and they were going for oxygen, and then all of a sudden they got to burst into this song about 22 miles until we get to heaven, and I felt
Right.
so sorry for them every night. Have you got that sort of thing in the
We
show?
have, all the
Yes.
way.
Yeah, we've got a big workload.
And a marvellous cast, I really must say.
Yeah.
They're just wonderful.
Well, I love the music from this show. I think it's one of the best scores, and I've never seen the
it
show,
is.
so I'm delighted that you're doing it.
You're coming to see it, aren't you?
Of course.
Oh, goody.
I'll even pay.
Okay then. You didn't think we'd say that, did you?
We'll get
Yeah, I
paid.
did. I had a terrible feeling you two tarts would take money from me. What's the relationship between your two characters, between Roxy and, what's her? Velma.
Velma Kelly. Well, Velma's kingpin in the jail, apart from the matron of the prison, who's played by Judy Connelly, another well-known
another-
favourite, wonderful
My
woman.
word.
So there's the matron of the prison and Velma Kelly. Then Roxy arrives and Roxy takes over, you know, usurps my power. So the show then is about these women competing for power in the prison and then wanting to do a double act together.
Right. And what caused your hair to go red?
Well, Roxy, it's referred to quite often in the script that she is a redhead.
Right. And so you've gone carrot for
You
this one.
noticed.
I noticed. It was the first thing I saw when I was watching you two rehearse today on my monitor. I thought,
Who's
what's
that?
Yes. Where's Nancye? I thought.
Right.
You're going to do a song for us, and I think most people would know the title song. No, not the title song. What's the
All
big-
That Jazz.
All That Jazz,
which is
right.
the opening number. Yeah.
But this one is a duet between you two, and I think probably, Nance, if you can just explain to us where it comes in the show so that people understand
Well,
the point of it.
it's the finale of Act One, and although I have been, as Geraldine said, the kingpin for a while, another murderess comes on the scene, and therefore we are now realise that we are on our own. We're going to be ignored again. So we decide that the only person that will get us through is ourselves.
So it's really,
called-
it's a duet, but it's actually a solo that two people are singing.
Oh, right.
And
It's
you'll see
announced-
what we mean when you
It's
hear
announced as Miss Roxy Hart and Miss Velma Kelly sing a song of relentless determination and unmitigated ego.
But in fact, your characters are sort of having to gang up to keep this
Yes.
other woman in place.
it. And we must say, in case people are thinking we're actually doing Prisoner or something, it is a vaudeville. It's called Chicago, a musical vaudeville. So it's actually about show business.
It's wonderfully theatrical. I mean, there's all forms of numbers, all the numbers that you've seen for years in all those musicals. You see that each one is done in a certain way.
Oh, I'm dying to see it, and I'm delighted we're getting a sample today. So I'll just set it up for everyone. I must point out that Chicago, starring these two, Nancye and Geraldine, opens at the Drama Theatre at the Sydney Opera House on June the 6th, and then it goes to Melbourne's Comedy Theatre in September.
The Theatre Royal before that in Sydney.
Oh, you're moving to the Theatre Royal as well?
Yeah,
Oh,
5
great.
weeks at the Drama Theatre and 7 weeks at the Theatre Royal in Sydney, and then the Comedy in Melbourne.
So you're in work.
We are.
For 6 months, eight times a week. We're going to be so thin.
You'll be so thin, that's
That'd
right.
be lovely.
Yeah,
Well, if you two like to take your places, I'll do the formal introduction.
terrific.
Thank you.
Okay, Nancye and Geraldine, ladies and gentlemen. And in their parts as Roxy and Velma. So, girls, take it away.
One thing I know,
One thing I know,
and I've always known,
and I've always known,
I am my own,
I am my own
best friend. Baby's alive,
Baby's alive,
but baby's alone,
but baby's alone.
and baby's her own,
Baby's her own
best friend.
Many's the guy who told me he cares, but they were scratching my back, 'cause I was scratching theirs.
And trusting to luck,
I'm trusting to luck,
that's only for fools.
that's only for fools. I play it again.